So I know many of you have or are considering getting one of these Bosch 12-inch axial glide saws, and I wanted to go over all the finer points to adjust this, all the stops and settings so you can really dial it in for precise cuts. So let's get into it. And the model I'm working on today is the GCM12SD. Literally all that you have to put together on the saw is just to add the front locking knob. That just threads in and you're ready to look at some of the finer adjustments. First, you want to make sure that your fence is square to the table, and this one is dead on. Particularly that sliding fence needs to be accurately square, and reference it to the center part, the circular part of the saw, not this outer wing. Generally, I like that layout where you can slide the top portion of the fence, but if you're seeing any daylight in there, just kind of hold that to your fence as you secure that knob and you should be good to go. If you're just getting started with this saw and you want to change a blade out, you need to loosen up this screw for the blade guard linkage. And then there's two screws here to loosen, and the blade guard will rotate out of the way to give you access to that fastening bolt. And to press that arbor lock button on the right side of the saw. And I actually recommend using your own 6mm wrench first time you loosen that up, because honestly Bosch snugs this thing up so tight you might damage the included wrench, but just remember those are reverse threads. So the first major thing we'll check is that the saw is cutting at a true 90 degrees, and if yours is off by a scotch, how to make that adjustment. And the whole problem with checking that on this saw is with a 60-tooth blade, there's really no way to avoid the carbide front and back, just because the blade doesn't sink too deep down into the bed of the saw. On this 12-inch non-slider, it's really easy to see, and you only have one carbide tooth to skip, but it goes a lot deeper into the saw as well. The best way I've found to get around that issue is to use a 1-2-3 setup block and then a 6-inch fixed square, and that'll let you get a good read on just the body of the blade. And if you can see any daylight between the blade and your square, just loosen up 4 fasteners, 2 on the left side of the blade, right here, and 2 more here on the right side, and that's a 4mm Allen wrench that you'll use to break those loose. There we go. And when you're making this adjustment, you want to have the locking knob loosened, but you do want to be in that detent. So make sure you're in the 0-degree detent, but you'll notice this whole carriage will move left and right with the saw, and that's what allows you to dial that in precisely. And since you're not fighting those carbide teeth, it's pretty easy to see where you're at. I can see I've got a big gap at the back of the blade here. Move it over. Now there's a gap at the front, so just take it back and forth until you've got good solid contact all along the body of the blade, right there. So I've just got my square propped up on another setup block, and if you really want to get dialed in with it, you can use a feeler gauge. My smallest feeler gauge is 1.5 thou, so looks like I'm still gapped at the back. I'll just make a micro adjustment. Small dead blow mallet, just give it a tap and recheck. Okay, now after a couple back and forths, now I can't get the feeler gauge in at the front or the back, so I'm going to lock that in. So I'll start by just slightly tightening the 2 Allen bolts that are closest to the blade. Then we'll double check our setting. And if nothing shifted with your setting, go ahead and snug up the outer bolts. And then come back and give everything a good tightening. Reset that pointer as needed. Now this won't affect the accuracy of your detents, but if you're in between the detents, it'll make sure that things are lined up well. It depends on your vantage, I guess, but that looks good to me. That is money. Well, one of my favorite topics is these deep dive tool tune-ups, so if this is speaking your language, consider subscribing to The Thoughtful Woodworker. I'd love to have you on board. If you want to check specs on this particular model, I'll drop a link down in the description, as well as share some of my favorite accessories for this saw. You'll quickly get to the point where you don't fear these adjustments, and it's a great way to get to know your equipment. So next we'll do the bevel adjustments, starting with the 90-degree position. So as I bring a combination square in, I can see that's gapped at the bottom of the blade, so looks like I'm about 1/2 degree out, so we'll need to make that adjustment. And to make that adjustment, you'll need access to the back of the saw, a 10mm socket, and then that 4mm Allen wrench. First step in the back is to loosen up these two bolts. And then there's two bolts along the side. We need to loosen up the one at the bottom, and this top one will be our adjustment for that 0-degree bevel stop. Then just place that Allen wrench in that top bolt, and we'll use that to make our adjustment. So just make subtle adjustments and recheck it. Just remember that that bevel lock has to be in the loosened position, so you have to kind of press that up against the square, and I'll occasionally lock that back down to make sure I'm getting a good accurate reading. Maybe I went a little bit too far. Okay, I can get my feeler gauges out, but I can tell with that big backlight, there's no light coming through, so that's dead nuts 90. Snug up those two 10mm fasteners. And if you just slide the back edge of the saw off your workbench, it's a little easier to run in and snug up that bottom Allen bolt. While you're back here, there's a 17mm nut that you can loosen if you want to adjust the pressure it takes to lock down your bevel angle. Mine was a little tight, so I think I'm going to make a slight adjustment. As a final check, we'll unlock that bevel lock, tip the saw over a bit to the left, and then we'll come back to our stop and just lock that in again. Still firm, but medium action on that. I like it. And if that 90-degree setting still looks good, we can move on to the next step. Okay, we're moving things right along. Next up, we'll be setting those bevel angles at the 45-degree position. Slide that movable fence well out of position and secure the knob in the back, and then you can go ahead and tip the saw over to the left. I like to lock that red handle down in between my tests, and it may be hard to show you, but it's pretty easy for me to see that I'm about a half a degree out, and the saw needs to continue to move towards the left slightly. And I need to get into my sewing kit for this adjustment. It takes just a little 8mm wrench. At the back of the machine again, you'll notice two more adjustment screws. This one controls the left stop, and this one up here controls the right stop. So just adjust that 8mm wrench one way or another until you're right against your 45-degree gauge. Of course, that red lever at the front of the machine needs to be loosened in order to make those adjustments with the 8mm wrench, but then for my final check, I like to snug that up. So it looks like there's no more light coming past the square now, so that'll be a good final setting for the left bevel stop. Then we'll loosen up the handle and basically do the same adjustment over on the right side. Now it's pretty tight quarters going to the right. In fact, you have to move that sliding fence all the way to the extreme right to be out of your way. And there's almost not enough room to get the head of a combination square under there. You have to kind of tuck it in as you bevel the saw over, but luckily mine looks spot on, but I'll show you where that screw is if you need to adjust yours. And it's this 8mm bolt you need to adjust in there to correct the position of that right bevel stop. Right there. Then if you need to make slight adjustments to the bevel pointer, it's just like the miter pointer, just a single Phillips screw, so pretty easy to dial that one in. And a bungee cord was a good way to go for making all those adjustments. Allowed me to keep that guard out of my way, but I didn't have to remove it. That axial glide system is just like industrial art to me. It's just fascinating to see how that articulates, but main goal, of course, is just to not take up so much room behind the saw and free up some space in your shop, so that's a good thing. But there is one adjustment on that linkage though, so let's finish up with that. So that top knuckle has a couple of screws in it, and that just helps you control the level of friction or resistance to the gliding motion. It comes kind of silky smooth from the factory. Oh, they were actually quite loose. And it actually states that Bosch doesn't calibrate this, so that's up to the end user, but we'll put a little bit of tension on those. That's getting there. Just a little bit more. Again, that's a 4mm Allen wrench, and just tighten those up equally. Yeah, that feels perfect. That motion is so smooth, you actually feel if there's a little bump, and out here you can feel a little bump in the travel, and actually it was surprising to find out that that's just from that guard and the wheels running on that. If you lift that up, it's absolutely smooth the whole way. So it just kind of tracks over a little bump on the casting there, but not to worry. And it's nice that you can lock that glide in either the forward or the retracted position. One complaint I do have about this saw is this is not a proper zero clearance insert, although I was glad to see that it's plastic and not metal, so if you did inadvertently cut into it, it's not that big of a deal. It's actually got slotted ways in it, but there's not enough adjustment to get that right up next to your blade, so definitely not a zero clearance insert. So I'll be replacing that with a proper insert that can help to reduce splintering on your cuts. I love these slide out supports. That was an upgrade on my last miter saw, but one thing I was initially concerned about is that this surface is not perfectly level. This is your reference surface here. This actually looked like it was a tad low, but very quickly I realized that it doesn't matter as long as your workpiece is supported by the pull-out extensions or by this main registration surface. Everything is perfectly flat. And actually I can only get about a 2.5 thou feeler gauge under there, just under that middle section, so that's definitely within tolerance. I will say this one feels a bit deeper than my last chop saw, but honestly I feel like that's a good trade-off considering the extra capacity this saw has. I think this one will handle crosscuts right around 14 inches. But honestly, once everything's tucked down and locked in place and I angle that over a bit, it doesn't take up much more space than my smaller saw. Well, now that you have your saw all dialed in, it'll make precise cuts for you, no matter what style of woodworking you like to do. But I've also got another video on accessories for this saw. So it's the GCM12SD, and we're looking at dust collection upgrades, zero clearance inserts, as well as an add-on light. So you'll definitely want to sub up and stay tuned to check that one out. And jump down to the description box for links if you want to research this saw a little further or check out some of my favorite accessories.